Today we're talking about something a lot of people skip, which is your settings in Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I know settings don't sound super exciting, but hear me out. The right settings can make you actually play better, spot enemies faster, and just feel more comfortable in the game overall. And the bonus of it is the stuff you figure out in Black Ops 6 is probably going to carry over into Black Ops 7 as well. So you're getting a head start before it even drops really. So grab a drink, settle in, and I'll walk you through all my personal settings and why I use them and how they might help you too. Enjoy the video. Now starting off guys, we're going to look at the graphics settings and we're going to go through display. If you are playing on PC, I cannot emphasize enough how important this can actually be. I have my display mode on full screen exclusive. This means the whole monitor space is used and the mouse cursor is constrained to this space, so you're not going to flick over into your other monitor if you do have another monitor. Obviously it automatically should select the display monitor, but if it's not the right one, make sure you select the one which is right for you. Then again, we're going to skip past display adapter. Yes, screen refresh rate, have to the refresh rate that your monitor allows you to. The monitor that I'm using has 180Hz, so I've got that set to 180. The display resolution I've got set to auto at 2560 by 1440 with an automatic aspect ratio. I've got the display gamma set at 2.2. and I have Radeon Anti-Lag 2 which is switched on. This just reduces the latency from the system for improved responsiveness. Going down, these are pretty much just standard. You've got your VSync, which I've got off for both gameplay and menus. I've got a custom frame rate limit, I've just put that to unlimited. So obviously I haven't touched any of the rest. I've got reduced menu render resolution to optimal and pause game rendering off with reduced quality when inactive at 10 minutes with a focus mode of 0. I've actually got HDR turned off. I feel like it's no good. In reality, it's pretty crap to be honest. Going on to quality, so I've got my graphic preset recommended, but I have altered it quite a bit. So starting off, you've got the 2560 by 1440 set to 100. My dynamic resolution is turned off and my upscaling and sharpening is a Fidelity FX CAS. Don't get me wrong, I know this bit seems boring, but it is extremely important. You've got your AMD FSR 3 frame generation turned to off, your VRAM scale target at 70 and your variable rate shading switched to off. Getting to the most important parts, this will allow you to see players without having to deal with shadows, reflections and stuff like that. So even if your PC can handle it at maximum quality, I'd still keep it to these settings. So I've got text resolution set to high, texture filter anisotropic set to low, depth of field is off and the detail quality set at high. You've got particle resolution, which I've currently got set to low. I feel like this can just block more sight of the actual enemy when they're behind all the debris and stuff like that. Bullet impact switched to off, persistent effects switched to off, and shader quality is on low. This will just help when you're playing Warzone, and if there's a player swimming in the water, there's nothing worse than trying to see them but the reflections are in the way. So I've just got that set to low purely for Warzone. Got on-demand texture streaming switched to optimized. Allocated texture cache size at 32. This is just dependent on your PC again. Going down, you've got your shadow quality, which I've got switched to low. That's just so I can see the enemies in the middle of the shadows, so they don't blend in as much. Screen space shadows are off. Occlusion and screen space lighten switched to low. Screen space reflections are off. Static reflection quality switched to low. I feel these shadow and lighten are the most important parts of your quality settings in Call of Duty. Going down to environment, I've got tessellation turned off. Volumetric quality switched to low, deferred physics quality switched to off, weather grid volumes quality switched to low, and water quality I've got to all. That's just so you can see any enemies in the water again in Warzone. Going over to view, my FOV I love at 120. If you're playing multiplayer, anything between 90 and 100 would be absolutely fine. But if you do play Warzone, I'll definitely set that to 120. It just gives you a wider field of view. My ADS field of view I've got set to affected. Weapon field of view set to wide. Third person field of view set to 90, and vehicle field of view is just set to default. No one really uses vehicles anymore. Camera, I've got motion blur, obviously switched to off. It's stupid. Weapon motion blur switched to off as well, because that's just as stupid. First person camera movement is at least 50%. Third person, again, at least 50%. Third person ADS transition is at third person ADS. And inverted flashbang I've got switched to off. Swiftly moving on, I'm moving on to audio now. I do have my master gain volume set to 100. The music always feels way too loud, so I've got that turned right down to 10. However, my dialogue, effects and cinematic music is all set at 100. Got your audio device, you can manually select it, but I've just got it set to default system, and it's set out as a stereo. Audio mix, I've got set to sucker punch, and my mono audio is off, along with mute gain when minimized, mute licensed music is switched to off, and asymmetrical hearing compensation is set to on. I've got reduced tinnitus sound switched to off, and hit marker preset is set to default. My voice chat I've got set to 100. That's really personal preference. Obviously your most important, you've got your proximity chat, which I would definitely keep on. This allows you to hear for any enemies that may be in your building, especially when you get into those final zones in Warzone and you don't know where the enemies are. It's just keeping an ear out. Got body shield chat on just for the shits and gigs, and the last words voice chat is switched to off. I've got it set to all lobby and to my default system device. My microphone level is set at 25. Obviously you can turn it up or turn it down, but mine's already quite high as it is. And your microphone mode, which is fully at your own discretion really. Moving on, we're going over to interface. So I've only got a few of these bits changed. So I've got obviously skip instruction movie, I've got that on just so you load straight into the game. Your kill cam off. That's all of this is kind of your own choice. Your readability, own choice, but gameplay HUD, this is where it begins to get important. Your multiplayer HUD presets, you've got multiple different ones. I've got mine set to standard. I like it in the top left up there. As a circle. You've got your visuals, so square, compass type is horizontal, so it's always in the direction that you're facing. You've got your mini-map rotation on, your radar off, scale to 100, so you can set the size, you can have it bigger, can have it smaller. I like it at 100, and you got all information on there. Yeah, icon scale and minimap opacity is set to 100, and then again, everything's set to 100, and player names are full names. This just allows you, when you're kind of aiming through smoke that's slowly disappearing, when they come into your iron sight, you'll see it come up with their name. Coming on to color settings, I've got the HUD color palette just set as default. It's kind of up to you if you want to change that or not. Personally, I haven't. Now, I'm gonna start with keyboard and mouse because that is what I use myself. So starting off on mouse settings, obviously your input device is locked as mouse. Now, mouse sensitivity, this really depends. I currently use 2400 DPI, and I like my sensitivity quite high. It might be why I'm shit at the game, but I've got mine set to this. So I've got my general sensitivity at 9.25, a vertical sensitivity multiplier of 1, third person multiplier of 1, ground vehicles is 0.8, air vehicles are 1, and tablet sensitivity multiplier of 1. My ADS sensitivity multiplier is at 1.1, as I like it a wee bit faster. I feel like too slow you can't do those flip rounds whilst in the ADS. And then all these are just kept the same. Going on to my keybinds, obviously I have the standard WASD, auto move forward I've got set to H, and jump stand / mantle space. Prone dive C, I think it's just easy to get to. Your crouch and slide control, and sprint / tactical sprint is set to shift. I think that's just because I used to play CS, that's the way I have it round. Going on to combat keybinds. Obviously as per, you're shooting with your mouse, your reload set to R. Your next weapon you can use scroll wheel or numbers, I use a bit of both. Weapon mount set to T and fire mode on B. I've got my melee set to F just so I can quickly grab it, and I've got my lethals and tacticals both on my mouse, so it's just easy to get to. Field upgrade is set to X, armor plates on G, and interact is E. Scrolling down, scoreboard I've got set to tab, your map is on M or caps, ping I use my center scroll wheel, text chart is I just use enter, in-game stats is the asterisk. And squad mission overlay set there slash, but I don't really, to be fair, I don't really use that much. And then you've just got your general push to start loadout menu, settings menu, chat channels, social, and launcher. Going on to movement, so I've got, this is, I would say, one of the most important parts is set your sprint assist to tactical sprint assist, with no delay, sprint assist sideways on, sprint assist backwards on. Got your mental assist, turn that off. There is nothing worse than running into something to try and get a head glitch and jump over it. Your crouch assist, I've got that done to off, and corner slice set to on. Crouch behavior, I've got set to hold. I don't want to be stuck crouching. My prone behavior is on toggle, sprint / tac sprint toggle, automatic airborne mantle on, parachute automatic behavior is always, sprint restore on, slide maintain sprint on, mantle cancels reload on. Moving on, you got combat. My ADS is at hold, dedicated melee is hold melee, body shield and finishing move behavior is prioritized finishing move, weapon mount is on toggle as well. Anyway guys, moving on to the one that you have been waiting for. We've got the controller settings. So starting off, looking at controller, obviously I've got my mouse plugged in at the moment. However, when I do use controller, these are typically the settings I use. So to start off with, your button layout, I've got set to tac flipped. The way you do this by setting it to tactical and then swap LB/RB with LT/RT, and I've just got that switched on. I've got my stick layout preset set to default with a horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity of 1.4. It just allows you to stick on the enemies and also keep them fairly neutral. I've got simplified controls preset set to off, low motor strain preset and bumper ping set to off as well. My controller vibrations obviously set to off, and very important, I've got my dead zone inputs set to these. So I've got my left stick minimum set to 0, max set to 60, right stick set to 0 and then 99 with left trigger of 15 and right trigger of 15. It just allows you to for very quick movement. Going on to aiming, so aiming for sensitivity in the multiplayer. Third person set to 1, ground vehicles 1, air vehicles 1, tablet 1, ADS sensitivity for multiplier, focus is also set to 1, the conversion on foot set standard, and the aim and advanced settings, I've got ADS set to instant, third person ADS to assist and standard, and on that's all fairly standard there. Target aim assist is obviously on, motion sensor behavior off, and the advanced settings I've got set to these, so I'll just let you have a read through those. However, this is pretty standard as it comes default. Going on to movement, looking at sprint assist, most important, tactical sprint assist, as I said on keyboard and mouse, is extremely important with a 0 delay, sprint assist sideways and backwards. Mount assist is obviously set to off, crouch assist off, and corner slice is on. Slide / dive behavior is set to hybrid. You've got automatic airborne mantle on, sprint restore on, slide maintain sprint on, parachute automatic always, mantle cancels reload on, and the movement advanced settings, I've got sprint / tac sprint set toggle, auto move forward off, auto door peek off, single tap sprint trigger, and sprint and door bash on. Moving on to combat, obviously one of the most important parts of this video, you've got your ADS behavior to hold, weapon mount activation is ADS and melee, hold melee for dedicated melee weapon, body shield and finishing move behavior, prioritize finishing move, arm plate behavior is apply all, C4 detonation is 1 by 1, equipment behavior is hold, manual fire behavior is press, and the combat advanced settings, I've got change D-pad up behavior to ping, change zoom activation to sprint, weapon mount is short delay, interact / reload tap to reload, sprint cancels reload off, akimbo behavior independent, and ADS stick swap set to off. Anyway guys, that's it for this video. If you did find the video helpful, make sure you drop a like, and if you've got any questions, drop a comment down below. We are trying to hit 100 subscribers by the end of the year, so if you could hit that subscribe button, that would be fantastic. Anyway guys, thanks very much for watching. Goodbye.